Thank you, Salima. I have the privilege. I found two stories that illustrates your what you just said quite well. Thank you. Two biblical stories. But I would like to begin with a simple question. Perhaps this question is even a cliche. Why are we here, and which purpose do we have? Why are we here, and which purpose do we have? The prophet Elijah asked the question, why I am here and which purpose do I have, when he was suffering from deep exhaustion and depression. In the biblical reading I have chosen for today, taken from the Old Testament, from the Hebrew Bible, from 1 Kings 19, the prophet Elijah finds himself on a journey of his own, a demanding journey filled with peril and terror. Elijah has worked hard and fought hard against the pagan god Baal and his prophets, and then out of fear, he escaped into the wilderness. And he is at the end of his strength, literally asking God to kill him so that he won't have to face the hardships of another day. And the prophet Elijah says, "It is enough, God," he begs. "Please take my life. It's enough." So please notice God's response. And for me, what follows is one of the most gentle and tender passages in the Old Testament. Elijah awakens to the soft touch of an angel who says to him, "Elijah, get up and eat." And when Elijah looks around, he sees that the angel has prepared a cake baked on hot stones and a jar of water for him to eat and drink. And Elijah, still exhausted, still deadbeat, but eats and drinks and falls asleep again. And the angel let him sleep, but then touches Elijah again. "Get up and eat. Otherwise, the journey will be too much for you." Do you hear how the angel strives to pull Elijah out of his depression? The angel, the angel could be anyone, by the way, softly wakes him up twice, communicating gentleness and empathy. In no way the difficulties of Elijah's journey and his deep exhaustions are belittled or even dismissed. Nobody says, "Get over it, think positive, work more, try harder." Or even, and this is what I heard when I was on medical leave, "You have just to believe stronger in your God and you get it. Push through it, you'll do it." No. Instead, we hear the angel saying, "Get up and eat, for the journey is too much for you." The journey is hard. It's hard. You won't ever make it on your own, but listen, you don't have to. Here's cake, here's nourishment. Get up and eat. And eat because there will be dangers along the way. Eat that you'll be strong enough to face the perils that lie ahead. You can't sidestep the journey. The journey belongs to you. But you can choose how to make it starving or fed, strengthened or weak, accompanied or alone. Which will you choose? Will you choose vulnerability and tell people what knocked you out of the trails? Will you choose kindness to yourself and inner passion without guilt, without judging yourself? Elijah, so the story continues, ate and drank and walked 40 days until he reached Mount Horeb, the mountain of God. And there's quietness and silence, and he heard God's whispering voice. So Elijah was given the permission to rest, to be nourished, to rest again, to be nourished again. Again, there is no timeline for healing. What is needed, though, is nourishment, here in the form of cake, and I really love this, and a healing touch by someone. So the question is, what kind of nourishment do you need? And are you able to talk about it and to verbalize it? What kind of nourishment do you need? And we also know that Jesus has chosen inner kindness and compassion with himself when he is journeying through his life on earth. And Jesus maintained a wise rhythm in the midst of his busy life. In addition to his custom of taking the weekly Sabbath, Jesus integrated other forms of time off into his life as well. We read in the scriptures of the New Testament that he often went away to be energized through prayer, quiet meditation, and to spend personal time with his close friends. So what can we say as people of faith about boosting resilience in digital age? As Elijah's story is unique, every story is unique. Our faith tells us that none of us is defined or condemned by a diagnosis. Jesus looks at people others are turning away from and sees people who are beloved children of God, worthy of love, worthy of healing. And Jesus heals people and sends them back into community to again live in relationship. And I would like to mention very briefly, though, the healing of a man possessed by demons, told in all 4 Gospels in the New Testament. And the story talks about a man who lives on the outskirts of society among the tombs. And he was bound with shackles and chains, but he managed to break out. And night and day, you read in our scriptures, he was screaming among the tombs and in the mountains and gashing himself with stones. In the Bible, demons always recognize Jesus. And these demons beg Jesus to cast them into a herd of pigs nearby, which Jesus does. And the pigs all run off the cliff, and when the townspeople gather, they see this formerly demon-possessed man clothed and in his right mind. What people in Jesus' time understood to be demon possession, we probably would now understand as mental illness. And the individual would get access to medical treatment, but this is not something I would like to talk about. I rather want to see that this man, or say that this man was seen and healed and was sent back into his community again. He was healed to be sent back into his community again. And I believe that as God's people, that's how we are called to see each other as well. And that means making room for each other, for the stories that each of us brings, including the stories that are hard to talk about and hard to listen to, including the stories where mental illness is a part, as difficult it is sometimes to be there and to bear with. But as people of faith, we don't need to pretend to feel well and not broken or down or exhausted or depressed. We don't need to listen to the easy answers, but we need to help share each other's pain, see each other's gift, and acknowledge the image of God that each of one of us bears. We do need to listen and pray for one another and remind one another that we don't need to be healthy all around to be loved. And I'm thankful to hear that, if I understood you right, Salima, that 50% of society That's a huge number. So I don't think that we don't need to be healthy all around to be loved. I believe there is a transcend vision of me and of you and of all of us, and nothing, absolutely nothing can take this transcend vision of who we are in God's eyes away from us. No struggle, no diagnosis, no shame, and no humiliation. I think this conversation today is just the beginning, and I hope this conversation can be ongoing. And I hope that as communities of faith, we're able to make room for each other, like today, rooms where we'll meet in person or breakout rooms or virtual rooms or whatever, but rooms where we can meet each other in honesty, with peace, and healing thoughts. And I also hope that as community of faith, we are able to name the injustice and structures that are responsible for the unhealthy life patterns we are suffering from, especially right now. And I would like to add, especially here. I hope we can and will stitch a new garment together as faith communities, one that fits all of humanity and nature. For conclusion, I have found, or I would like to read one of my most favorite poems. I hope I still have time. It takes me 1 minute. And the poem is written by Rumi, and you probably know it. It's called The Guest House. This being human is the guest house. Every morning a new arrival, a joy, a depression, a meanness. Some momentary awareness comes as an unexpected visitor. Welcome and entertain them all, even if they are a crowd of sorrows who violently sweep your house, empty of its furniture. Still treat each other's guest honorably. He may be clearing you out for some new delight. The dark thought, the shame, the malice, meet them at the door, laughing, and invite them in. Be grateful for whatever comes, because each has been sent as a guide from beyond. Thank you for listening.